Before this video gets started, I just wanted to say thank you to all channel members for supporting the channel. It truly means a lot. If you want to become a channel member, hit the link down in the description. Now, let's get on with today's video.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Pineapple Sway today, bringing you guys a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video. If you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing. And today we're going to be talking about what is Lex Luthor's endgame in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, as it's probably one of the most interesting things that we have in the game, because obviously we know that Lex 1 died in the main story, and then we meet Lex 2 in the main story, and Brainiac always talks about Lex Luthor's betrayal, and it seems like Lex 2 and Brainiac sort of have a history that we just don't know about and that we'll likely never figure out. So, my thought was always that Lex Luthor was going to be the main villain for year 2, but obviously knowing that they had it slated and planned for it to be the Batman Who Laughs with his own Justice League, it leaves out a bit of a question of where was Lex Luthor exactly going to get placed. Maybe he would return to be the year 3 villain. We really don't know, because Brainiac always speaks about Lex Luthor's betrayal, but we haven't seen it, or haven't seen anything yet. Maybe that betrayal is still set to become something in season 4 episode 8, but from what we know it doesn't seem likely. So it's just, what was Lex Luthor's plan all along? Obviously he knew somewhat, I would say, about the Suicide Squad, and he knew about Brainiac for a long time, and maybe it was his intention to get warped into Earth 1. We really don't know. It just opens up a lot of questions of what was he doing on Earth 2, what was he doing to defeat Brainiac, if anything, and where did his, Task Force X go wrong? Since if you go back to that world, it seems like where Toyman is, it's like they had Riddler, seems like Ivy was there, and then obviously Lex 2 mentions Lady Boomerang, so it seems like he basically watched his entire Task Force X get wiped. But since Brainiac mentions a betrayal, it almost seems like Lex 2, caused that demise of his Task Force X for a greater gain. What could that possibly be? I really don't know, but I like to think that, if this game did do well, Lex 2 was going to eventually betray the Suicide Squad and betray the Justice League. And it also seems like Lex 2, and this is just my theory, I believe Lex 2 has access to Wayne Tech of some sort, knowing that he could basically see Bruce Wayne's contingency plans and basically strategize to defeat the Justice League, or maybe use the Justice League as his own army. It's a lot to think about, because from the game standpoint we really have nothing, but the game kind of makes you think that Luthor's story isn't done. He's here for now helping out the squad, but it doesn't seem like he wouldn't stop to betray the squad at any time. And, part of me likes to think that when this game is all said and done, when we wrap it up, basically this Tuesday, I'd like to believe that Luthor will steal Brainiac's tech. We've seen Luthor, basically, when you come back to Lex Corp season by season, he's been building something, and instead of the iconic green color that, Lex Luthor uses, Lex 2 is more on the line of the orange, like an iconic orange color, which is a bit strange, but he's been building and researching a ton of different things, most likely maybe to defeat Brainiac's army. And then Lex Luthor as well, Lex 1 seemed to know that Brainiac's army was coming, and could have told the Justice League to possibly not, lead to the disastrous thing that we have now, with the Justice League getting corrupted, losing all of the trust and hope in people, and then Brainiac's invasion. Honestly, it seems like there's something that, from the game standpoint, we're missing, that maybe at some point we are supposed to get, which makes me like to believe that Luthor 2 basically sent Brainiac, maybe not intentionally, but knew how to basically send Brainiac to Earth 1 to destroy their universe. It's a lot of stuff that doesn't really make sense, and it's mainly just theorizing, but it's interesting to me how, with Lex Luthor's just the way he's portrayed in this game, it's interesting how um, Rocksteady has sort of made Lex 2 a good guy, although I don't think that'll last forever. If this game, like if when the next Batman game comes out, if it is Batman or Justice League, I could see Lex 2 having a significant role, especially if it takes place a few years after this game. But we really don't know. And it also makes me wonder if Lex 2 knows of any other threats that are out there in the universe. Obviously, he knows about Brainiac. Does that mean he knows about Darkseid? And originally, does that mean he knew that the Batman Who Laughs was coming? It opens up a lot of questions of what was Lex 2's initial plan, because he's gained the trust of the Squad. He'll likely gain the trust of the Justice League, although we know that Batman probably won't really give him any room to budge, since we all know that Luthor 1 and Batman have had problems, and that's kind of transpired across the Arkhamverse. But it's just interesting to me how Luthor 2 has been seemed to be like this hero, this savior for the Squad, and it opens up the question, like, what does he gain from it? And when you look at it, he doesn't really gain anything. He's just being a hero. Maybe with the parallel universes, it's set in stone that, hey, maybe he was a hero. But to me, and I think to a lot of fans of the game, it just doesn't seem likely. But so I don't know, kind of just been rambling on. So to me, I feel like Luthor's goal is to defeat all 13 Brainiacs so that he can become a Brainiac of his own. Not necessarily become Brainiac, but sort of like what we saw in Injustice 2, when Batman and Superman steal Brainiac's tech and use it for their own intentions. I think that's what Luthor's plan is he's letting the Squad and the Justice League do all the dirty work for him, so when they're, thinking, hey, we saved the world, we defeated all 13 Brainiacs, Luthor's going to come in and basically have access to all of Brainiac's tech, because that seems to be on like what he's doing. What are his intentions with that tech? I have no idea. Obviously, we'll just have to find out, and maybe the audio logs could give us a good conclusion to what Luthor originally planned. But it's just interesting to me how Brainiac speaks of his betrayal, but we just haven't seen it, which is why people theorize that Luthor would be the Year 2 villain. Obviously, knowing that's not true, it also just opens up the question of, well, what was Rocksteady's plan with Lex Luthor? Obviously, they killed the regular Lex Luthor from Earth 1, and then they introduced Earth 2 Lex Luthor, who seems to, obviously, when you find him, be in a bit of a tough situation because his whole world is destroyed, yet he is alive. So it's like, did he sell himself out to Brainiac? I really don't know. Since we all know Brainiac, he likes to collect. He's a collector of worlds. He likes to research and gain as much knowledge as he can. And it also opens up the question too of just, how does Brainiac know Lex Luthor? Something that we'll never really know and never really figure out. But if you guys made it to this far in the video, let me know what you think. What was Lex Luthor's or Lex 2's plan? I really don't know. It's one of the most interesting story points in this game that will just never get answered. And I know I just kind of rambled and went on for 9 minutes, but it's just because it's really just theorizing. We really don't have anything. And, we'll just have to think of what could have been and maybe what was his original plan. But let me know down in the comment section down below, what do you guys think Lex Luthor planned? Was it evil? Was he going to stick to being good? We really don't know. Maybe one day we'll figure it out. I would like to believe that. Or maybe with episode 8 we'll get our answer. But anyways though, this is Pineapple Sway. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Peace out.